do for how to TV at a mysteriously mystical location somewhere near this image. I'm making this brief video about looking at the night sky, because it's part of what I do in my paintings. I have to get a blue to make it look like a sci-fi movie. And a lot of stuff that I paint is like the sky. So sometimes daytime sky, sometimes the nighttime sky. So I look at the sky quite a lot, and so I also know all the stars. So I keep track of the stars, because it's good to know the stars. I know where Mars is at the moment, right? So I have an app that I use, right, which is called Star Chart. And not to be promoting anybody's stuff, but it is a good app. And you can keep track of stars. So I knew where Mars was, right? And I couldn't really sleep the other night, so I was like, I'm just going to go out and look at Mars, because obviously there's some Mars vibe here. If you want to look at it that way, the Mars energy was getting me. So I go outside, go out the back of the house, and it's a very long garden, so, and even though the house is quite high, the garden is quite long. So then, and I can see Mars directly over the house in the south, and it looked totally cool, And Mars is in Aries, right, in astrology, right? It's technically at the bottom of Pisces there with Aries there, in that location in the sky. And that's Mars at home, right? So Mars is at home, visiting his own house. So I'm out the back garden there looking. And I moved back a bit further to get so there's more space between Mars and the roof of the house. I kind of notice, I get this feeling of something calling me over here, like a non-voice voice, that I should stand back a bit further and have a look. And I see Venus there on the eastern horizon. So I got Mars and Venus, and then I get the impression that I should look the other direction to the east. And there's Jupiter and Saturn on the western horizon. On the western horizon, looking like really cool. So I got Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and you could see the light of the sun coming up from the east as well. So there's kind of blue in the sky, everything looking kind of bluish, and not many clouds. And it just looked great. But I wasn't expecting to see, and I know that Mercury was there. So you had the sun opposite Jupiter on the other side. Jupiter's about to go down on the horizon, with Saturn a little bit later. And Venus is rising in the morning. So you got the sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, all on the horizon at the same time. Like, not on the horizon, on that ecliptic line where they mark where all the zodiac signs travel across. And I just thought that was a unique moment. So I had to put the blue on the screen so it looked a little bit like a sci-fi movie, But yeah, I just thought it was a unique moment, and something that you could actually do. You could go out if you were awake in the morning and you kind of going, hey, I can't really sleep while I do, it's really annoying me. You could go out to look at the sky. Look amazing. I had to get my dramatic sci-fi vibe going on. I just wasn't thinking about it at the time, but as I moved back up the garden and saw that, it became like a revelation, just on a visual level, from one horizon to the other horizon, just all these planets that you hear about. We're sending a probe there, la la la. Well, you can spot it and go, oh, that's where they're going to send the probe. Yeah, so this is a brief video. Before, I wanted to make a photograph of it, but the camera won't make a night kind of photo. So I used the app to make a photograph, and then I stitched them all together. So I'm going to show that to you now. So I took it at the time where I was out there. I came back in here and I just did a screenshot so you could see where, that they were all there. I thought it was cool anyway, so I'm going to make a video about that. But the main point is You know, sometimes you can't sleep and you have access to go out to a garden, like it's your own garden or whatever. It's not much hassle. Go out if it's clear sky and look at the stars. It's just a good thing to distract yourself from the fact that you can't sleep. Or it's just a good thing to do if you're into like where we're at in the universe, and you can find out so much stuff about them. You can find out the mythology of the names of stars, the mythology behind them, all the artwork attached to it, because like there's loads of it. Because like so much art is about stars that it's kind of quite amazing. So you kind of can't avoid art and the stars. So looking at them and knowing where they are, and blah blah blah, I think that's a really good thing to do. So even no matter whether you're into astronomy or astrology or whatever, doesn't matter. Just going out and looking at them and seeing what they are and recognizing them and being able to know that kind of puts a perspective of not how small we are as people, but how important it is that there are people to look at it all and go, wow, isn't that amazing? And that it's all sort of timed like this kind of clock, that they are all right there at this particular moment. I think anybody who has an opportunity should go and see that, because it's not that, I'm sure it happens regularly enough, but it's not necessarily something that happens too often. At dawn that you would see all the planets and know that they were all there. Not like you can only see 5 of them, but with that app, the other ones are there. It's just, I think that's quite amazing. I'm going to cut to the artwork now. This is the wide screen version of the photograph that I took stills from the app. You can see Mars there. And Mars was directly in the set. In this image you can see it better, the planets. So you got the sun over here, that's in the east. You got Mercury, you got Venus, you got Uranus, Mars, Neptune, and down here you have Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter. So it's all the planets right across the whole sky, all at the same time, which I thought was like, that's pretty rare then. So let's see, zoom in on them. So it's the sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, then that one here, that's Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. Yeah, I just thought, hey, that is just one of those amazingly interesting things that you're not going to see too often, and I thought it was worth recording a little video about it to encourage people to go out and look at the stars, because they're cool. Yeah, how would you say it? I just think it's a good thing to do, and I would encourage people to do it, because it's kind of puts everything in perspective for, in the context of in the context of, it's a different perspective on reality, when you kind of step outside your average view of things and you go and look at something it's sort of natural that's kind of bigger than what humanity does, so it's kind of separate. although in the moment you're looking at it, it kind of puts into context the human experience. That's what I think. And so that's why I would encourage people to go and look at stars and get to know them, get to know where they are. And then, just kind of appreciate the bigger picture scenario, and get to know the names of them all, etc. So, okay, I'm going to cut back to my other. Yeah, what I found most interesting about looking at the stars is I wasn't really expecting it, so I just went out to look at one star and just hadn't thought about the other stars over there, and they just sort of popped out on the horizon, and it looked really special. And I just think it's something that everybody would enjoy, just especially if you're on your own and there's nobody else around. It's quite dark and stuff. It's this kind of strangely mysterious or mystical experience that you have, just you and the whole universe. And even though there's people around sleeping or whatever in other houses around, you're slightly separate from them at that moment. So you're literally in another world, and then the stars are there. I think it's a good, it's kind of therapy. Kind of seeing where you are in relation to everything else. And then getting to know, like I say, getting to know the stars, because once you recognize the light that comes from them, you'll always recognize them, and it kind of makes the whole of life just that little bit more of a great adventure. And obviously, I benefited because I wasn't expecting to see all those stars at that time. So this video is dedicated to the stars. So we got the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, which is looking really good. Uranus, up in the order there, right? The Sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter. Yeah, totally cool. So, I don't know, lots of people are into the stars and stuff like that, but I just thought that's really a unique thing to see in one evening. Just because you see lots of photography about and these news programs. We're going to send a probe here. We're going to send a probe there. We're going to look at this. We're going to look at that. And I just think it's interesting to know, all right, that's the one they're talking about, over there. All right, that's great. We'll see what those pictures look like when they come back, and we can ponder that from here, where we're just able to look at it from the ground and say, there's a beautiful bright light in the sky. Yeah, and think about that. Anyway, so yeah, this video kind of relates to the paintings that I've been doing, although I haven't put that many of them up online yet because I was busy doing them. And I figured I'd put up some videos about what was stuff that I do. But also, just if you're interested in astronomy and stuff, go and look at the stars. And not just astronomy, astrology, whatever, but then you know where they are. I think it relates a lot to the imagery that we get in our daily lives. It definitely affects our moods, the moon, and stuff like that. And I think that's an interesting thing to consider when you're. Whatever else is going on in the life, you can still look at the stars, and kind of just contemplate it, kind of whatever pops into your mind when you look at them, And when you wish upon a star and all those kind of things, and all the songs that people have written with that are about stars. I'll probably do this in another video again, but I had to put the sci-fi green and get a kind of strange kind of lighting scenario going on, so that it kind of added a little bit of drama to the video. So yeah, if you look at this and you got to think, well, it's kind of out of focus or something. No, it's supposed to be like that. I think it's a trick that I might use again. I kind of like it. Alright, Shadow Radar TV at a mysteriously mystical location somewhere near all the stars that are on the horizon, but far enough away that I can see them all at the same time and really enjoy it. And so do you. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching the video, and yeah, enjoy everything. Oh, yeah, and like, subscribe, and share. Yeah, share, because it's always a good idea. Okay, thanks.